Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the tongues of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's all in the reflexes.
I'll also say that you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Not for while you can, monkey boy.
Great Scott.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an ally.
What about side by side with a friend?
The day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
Welcome to Saturday Night Drive-In, where we take some time off from bitching, complaining about the attack on everything we love to celebrate those things we love and maintain their integrity and just to have some fun. This show is about having some fun, taking some time off. So that's what we're here to do. And tonight, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. We're taking 3 weeks to go through the entire trilogy, coinciding with the re-release of Return of the King in the theaters in 2 weeks. So that's why we're doing this, and I'm ready for this. As you can see, we have a little bit of a different lineup tonight. The usual suspects who basically are always around me these days. I don't know. Are filling in because my life partner Jed is at the Geeks and Gamers of MegaCon, so he can't be here.
And also, when Jed ain't around, he always calls in the second stream and the third stream and the fourth stream, and then I show up. Yeah.
And I had arranged a couple other guests. One of them cannot make it because, hey, wife came home early. He's going out to dinner. I'm not going to stop a man going out to dinner with his wife. But Pips, hopefully from White Cokes, will join us next week for Two Towers. And we will have another guest, possibly. I don't want to say who's in. Don't want to make her feel bad if she can't make it, but she may show up or not. Brittany Dayhoff may show up. Okay, there I said it. Brittany Dayhoff may show up. She has the link. I made sure that she understood she can pop in when she can because, again, people don't have the same schedules, and we haven't streamed together, so she's not lined up with us yet. Either way, we hope they can make it. Other than that, it's just us, the usual suspects. So we hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
We're here for more on High Adventure.
Hail howdy. No, well, yeah, for once we're not on Conan, which is what we've been doing forever, it seems. Let's say hi to the chat and let's get started. Hail and howdy. Hail Algrim the Strong. I don't know if I'm worthy of being King of Gondor, but I thank you as always for the praise, good sir. Hail the Goddess, one of my mods with my regulars, along with Mustang. Scroll on down. Good evening, Bridget. No, I will admit that Jed and I, we toyed with the idea of doing an April Fool's joke day, but we realized, the show has a small enough following as it is right now. We didn't want to risk pissing everybody off by telling you we're going to do one thing and do something else. And again, Jed's not even here now, so it would have been just me suffering the consequences. So no, there is no April Fool's. We are here straight up talking about Fellowship of the Ring. Going down. Hail, John Shaggy rope us. Yes, this is extended cut. Only extended cut. There is no other version. Hey, Grump. Excellent. Grump's probably listening to us while doing something else.
There's another cut.
Yes, there's the theatrical cut.
Oh, you mean the lesser cut? You know, the thing that once you watch the extended cut, you realize is actually shit, and the extended cut is the superior cut.
The one that's an hour longer. The one that while you were a baby in diapers, I actually saw in the theaters.
I actually saw them in the theaters too. You know,
when they were first released.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I'm only I'm older than Jed. You're the one who was born at the beginning of time.
All right. Hail, everybody. Okay, guys. So thanks, everybody, for being here. We hope you enjoy the rest of the show. And if you're watching on the replay and the upload, hit that like button, leave a comment. And, we hope you continue to join us as we go over. All right. Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Rings. It's not something unknown. It's not something that we need to dance around for spoilers. So we're just going to dive right in. And it's always, in my opinion, when talking about this stuff, and we've done this before a couple of ways, Lord of the Rings, where do you start to talk about this? And we're going to do our best to keep it constrained within this movie. We're going to try and not leak into the other movies since we are doing them on the show. May not be the same panel, but the show will be doing them for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to try and stay contained in Fellowship. I know it's hard, but we're going to. But as I said, though, it's always interesting, an interesting dilemma. Where do we start to talk about this stuff? And I have an idea. I'm going to start with this. Let's start with well, first of all, a hi panel. How you guys doing? I just realized I say hi.
Oh yeah, you never even introduced us. You know,
well,
I did so hard. I went over to the Legion stream. I was with Mike.
Yeah, dude, we're starting late because you weren't here on time. Okay, there, I said it.
I was talking to Epic Mike. I even told Epic Mike, hey, we're going to be doing this. Having just
streamed with Epic Mike and met him, I forgive you. Epic Mike's cool.
He's also my favorite member of G&G, so it was like.
Did you fanboy on him?
I did fanboy on him. I had to admit
You're shameful. You're shameful. All right.
He's my favorite.
Jeremy, how you doing? I haven't seen you since last night.
I know it's been so long. It feels like we never streamed together anymore. It's not like
you might need to be my new life partner since Jed is so busy these days. I see you more than I see Jed now.
I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to be your life partner.
And you know why I'm not? You know why I'm going to automatically take that back? Because you eat man meat.
That's about what you say. You do realize he's going to put meat on your fire.
Hello, I was building to the joke. God damn it, thanks.
I love that man meat. I even told Epic Mike, I love that man meat. I go around, I harvest that man meat everywhere I can get it.
Oh my God.
Were you streaming still last night when you went on your epic trip to Conan City?
Yeah.
Oh God, I feel sorry for everybody that had to hear that.
I went to Conan City for man meat.
Well, so welcome, Derm, as always.
Yeah, I was over at the Legion stream. I'm sorry, guys.
It's fine. I'm just giving you shit.
I fanboyed. But yes, I am here. I am almost to 1K, and what I've been going around telling people is once I make it to 1K and get monetized, that exact next stream, it's all coming off.
Oh, God, no.
I'm going to be shaving.
It'll grow back in a week, probably. Stop trying to make it like it's a big deal.
I'm going to shave it.
How long did it? All right. How long did it take you to grow all that?
This
to that level?
About 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
This is a week and a half.
Yeah, I'll shave it all off on stream. I haven't been babyface Dermot in a long time, so I'll go full babyface. You will see it all. You will see why I keep a beard. Because I look ridiculous without it.
You know what you should do it? Okay, you should do it on Ballbusters. Don't just do a live stream.
That's the goal.
Do it on Ballbusters. Ballbusters next week, 11 p.m. Eastern, where we spend 3 hours dumping on Dermy. That's what it turns
into. My own show.
I know it's fun. Mustang, our resident lore expert for Lord of the Rings. How you doing?
Hold on. I got to rearrange a few things.
You're playing Conan right now, aren't you?
No, I'm actually not.
No, he can't because he had Steam running and it was giving him an audio issue. So if he was playing Conan, we'd know. He'd be
Okay.
having an audio issue.
Is it
No,
bad that I'm
I'm
debating turning
answering
on
somebody
Conan?
about the storms last night.
Oh yeah, yeah. There were those. I saw the report this afternoon. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm good. I do not eat man meat.
No, you don't.
Well, that's because you are a lesser human.
All right, we're moving on. Let's talk about why we're here. Fellowship of the Ring. There, I introduced you reprobates, and let's move on. All right, so again, it's always an interesting dilemma. Where do you start to talk about this stuff? Where do you dive in? We've all seen this many times. We all know these stories. It's not anything fresh. It's just we appreciate it and we want to talk about it. And as we start a discussion, we know it's going to go someplace. So my tactic tonight, as we start, at least for this one, I'll probably have to change it for next week, considering we want to keep it fresh for the structure of the show. Let's start with favorite moments in the movie. Since I'm hosting, I will not go first. I'll go with Mustang. Mustang, what is your? And I'll give us up to 3 in case we need to spread it out. But what is your favorite moment in Fellowship?
Boromir's death, without a doubt.
Oh, all right. See, you're gonna. All right, tell us why, and I'm gonna tie that into another thing I was gonna talk about later. But you just opened that door, so go for it.
I mean, his journey up to that point, he realizes who Aragon really is.
I think he knew back in Rivendell, though.
He knew to a degree, but he accepted it, and he was glad to die with his king. His journey was complete. That's all we needed. Nothing else.
I see. Now, here's where that's not one of my favorite moments, but that was a moment I was going to ask later. My question was going to be later on. What is the moment that gives you the most feels? That's my moment that gives me the most feels. Because when he's giving, I would have followed you, my brother, my captain, my king.
My king.
When he does that, what my mind is going to in that moment is, I wish he would have lived, because what I would have loved to have seen is him be Aragorn's loyal right-hand man in the future. I always think that in that moment. The what could have been, and that's why I feel sad. I feel really sad because I love super bro moments of loyal bro moments, like you are my boy, I got your back, and especially when it's a leader and he's just rightfully so loyal to it. And when I say leader, I mean the true heroic leader and his most loyal followers. Like, I will go to the ends of the earth for you. I will do this. And when he says, follow you, my brother, my captain, my king, is like, oh man, I wish I could have seen that. And that's where I get the most feels, because one, I'm sad because he gets his redemption after betraying Frodo. And then, but he gets it back, and he as Aragorn says, you've retained your honor. You've died with honor. Your name is not going to go down as a betrayer, as a traitor, as someone who fell victim, complete victim to the ring. And then I just think, man, I wanted to see the future, so that kind of future. So that's my feels. But it is a great moment. But for me, that's my feeliest of feels moment. Dermy, how do you feel about that scene?
About which scene was it again? I was
Boromir's death.
Boromir's death. That is a unique scene. It is a very tragic scene that it hits hard because it is Boromir. It's the end of his hero's journey of since. And his fall from grace and his return to glory is realizing that he has to sacrifice himself kind of to save Pippin and Merry. So it does hit hard, but it's not my favorite scene.
Oh, no. It's Mustang's favorite scene. But for me, it's the scene that has for me the most feels, because I'm sad.
It has the most feels.
It's my most feels scene. And like I said, it's sad because I think of what could have been. And that makes me even sadder because I love those moments. I love those types of relationships, and we're never going to get that. And Lovely Lickle brings up a great point. I don't think Boromir is pulled off without Sean Bean.
No way.
No.
And that opens the door of the casting of this entire franchise, the entire trilogy, and it starts here. Sean Bean just hits it out of park, and of course, that I think that started the meme of Sean Bean dying in movies. Did this start the meme of that?
One does not simply star in Lord of the Rings. But I don't know if it was this. I think actually what started the meme was, hey, he dies in a lot of movies. Here's Lord of the Rings, and then Game of Thrones happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the
So I
thing
think Game
with
of
that
Thrones is
scene.
what really cemented that meme.
Without Boromir's death, Aragorn would never see what the Gondor people are, because he'd never been to Gondor. People forget that. They're like, oh, he's been. No, he's never been to Gondor. That is something people forget. He had to see. The whole movie's about redemption in many ways, and he has to see that they are redeemable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand. I'm not taking away from the storytelling aspect of it. I understand the necessity of it. It's just my boyish what ifisms. It's like,
well, also,
I see something like that.
Because we're sticking this to Fellowship, to just branch out a little bit, Boromir's death actually does have impacts in the other throughout the whole
absolutely.
story.
Oh, well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's an important story point that has ramifications that ripples throughout all three movies. It just that's one of the reasons also it's the most feel, because you realize, and again, to just cheat a little bit, when you get the flashback in Two Towers, you understand Boromir's motivations even more, and it makes it even more painful that he got wrapped up in that his part of the Fellowship took the turn that it takes,
because
and that in the end, he's the only member of the Fellowship that dies.
Yeah. And the reason it took a turn was because of the human hearts, whatever you want to call it, are easily corrupted, and the ring just did what it does, easily corrupted him.
Yeah,
and people that know Tolkien, you've got to remember that scene's about a friend of his dying in World War I as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's where he drew that from.
I don't know the bits and pieces of that kind of stuff. So it's good that you are here to tell us that stuff, because it's important. Well, that adds to the whole realism of this. That's why these stories are relatable, because again, Tolkien, while trying to create a mythology, also grounded events in realism. When we all write stuff, especially in the beginning, we base things on people we knew. I based a lot of my early characters and early stories on people that I knew, because I didn't have any other framework. What am I going to reference? Things I see on TV? No, I'm going to reference flesh and blood individuals that have an impact on my life. Now, as you get more experienced, you're able to craft characters out of thin air based on what you need. But in the beginning, you do that. And then that's why sometimes, though, especially for a scene, if you can base it on a scene, that's why it's relatable. And that's why Tolkien masterfully pulls us all in, because he's drawing on something real and a concept we can all connect to. Losing somebody and feeling a connection to that person in that last moment, and understanding life is fleeting, but there is still meaning in sacrifice. So that's why that scene is important again, and the acting. That's one thing we have to point out. The performances in this movie are just incredible. They all know
fantastic.
They're fantastic. I mean, sometimes I will question moments in terms of but overall, like 99% of it is just nailed it, and that comes from Peter Jackson. That comes from everybody committing to being there. Because we remember when they signed on to do these movies, they signed on for basically a large section of their life at the time, years, to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows. It shows. Jeremy, what's your favorite scene?
There's so many, but I would.
Well, we can get to a couple here. So
I pit her back and forth between Gandalf first encountering Saruman and just seeing a magic fight. like, and how powerful they actually are, even though Gandalf kind of loses. It's just seeing that fight. Then there is, it's in Helm's Deep, and it's
We're not
not,
at
you
Helm's
shall,
Deep.
huh? Not
You
Helm's
mean
Deep. No?
Khazad Doom. You said Helm's
Khazad
Deep. You
Dûm.
mean Moria.
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 Wait, but then what's Helm's Deep? My God,
Helm's
my
Deep is 2 terrors.
I'm
All
drinking
right.
a bit. Okay, cut me some slack. Anyways, in Moria, and
Okay.
everybody wants me to sit here and say, "Oh, it's you shall not pass," but no, it's when Gandalf sits down with Frodo and just has the discussion that sometimes it's more merciful to let something live.
Okay, well let's start with the wizard battle. I'm always a little annoyed at the wizard battle because it's just a battle of telekinesis.
Yeah, but I think that's the best you could do at the time, but it does show just how powerful they are in comparison.
Okay, I see where you're going, but I'll give it this again. This is just, I dream of fantastical wizard battles. But I've never seen a decent one because Harry Potter kind of gypped us on that. It didn't really give us a good one in any of the movies. We didn't really get a major, powerful, giant wizard battle that I would.
The best one you could say is Gandalf versus why am I Voldemort?
Saruman, you just said it.
Gandalf. No, what Gandalf versus Saruman? I was talking about for Harry Potter. Dumbledore versus Voldemort.
Yeah, but
I think it's
still
possibly the best battle there. But other than that,
but it's still not epic for me. It still doesn't. I don't think about it. But I dream of seeing an epic wizard battle, and it just is. This is Gandalf and Saruman, and when I first saw the movie, I'm warm. But I understand what you're saying. I mean, granted, this is me. I want high fantasy spells hurling and flying. And I've never gotten that except maybe in an anime. But in this, I understand what you're saying, though. We take it for what it is. It's a brutal fight.
Yes.
It's a brutal because they are bleeding and the cuts jumping back of the boom, 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 boom. And it lays the groundwork for the threat that is Saruman now in the next movie. And also it's we're getting the introduction of Saruman's fall from grace here, that it happened off camera, but here he is completely he's gone
because he's power hungry.
I think for me I think that scene is more powerful for the betrayal of it all. To me, what hits more is the betrayal. Gandalf is there seeking aid, and instead he finds an enemy. He finds no solace, and he gets trapped for months on top of there. So that's to me, that's the powerful thing of that. But it is a brutal scene, and it's only my crazy little fanboy in me that wants more magic wielded. But then again, I guess that begs a question. And Mustang, maybe you could help us with this. The rules of magic on Middle Earth and Lord of the Rings have always been a little bit gray. Is that fair to say?
Non-existent. It's a better term.
All right,
wasn't allowed.
You are you are more the lore expert here, so that's why I tossed it to you. That's why I didn't want to frame it. There's no rule set for the magic in Lord of the Rings. It kind of just happens when a wizard wants to do it or somebody else wants to do it.
It's very minimalistic, and it's designed so that it isn't overpowering the story. It's the reason why Christopher hated these movies so much, because they went to battle. And J.R.R. flat out said he did not want the shows revolving around that. He wanted the story to speak for itself.
But I think I'm going to break with them and say that we do need some action on the screen when you got heroes. You need something. And,
for screen, yes.
Yeah.
For book, no.
Book, no, but screen, yes. And that's why I do one of my favorite moments, and I guess I'll jump down. Then we'll jump back to what Dermy's second one is. One of my, not my favorite, but one of my favorites is the battle at the end of the movie, especially Aragorn's one-on-one with what I always forget that Uruk-hai's name. What's that Uruk-hai's name?
The White Hand?
Yeah, he has a name. Borg or something. It begins with a B, I
can't
think.
remember it.
I always forget it.
I'm not even going to make fun of you right now because I forget what it was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
He wasn't much of a. He wasn't a rememberable character. I mean, come on.
Well, he was a temporary mini boss, and Aragorn.
He was just the first of the Uruk-hai.
Yeah, but he was in command of the Uruk-hai there, and he had some control, and he was a brute, but he wasn't skilled. But it was still, I still like it because what I love about that is we see Aragorn's skill, and I love the moment when, and I just watched it like 40 minutes ago, so it's just very fresh. The fight happens. It's in your face. It's quick, but it starts off with Aragorn tackling him because he was about to end Boromir, get the final what's the word I want to use? Humiliating death of point blank. I'm going to shoot you point blank in the head, you little human. But then Aragorn tackles him. They roll up, and you get a square fight. I love a one-on-one fight. I really do. And this one satisfied me because it's a boom, boom, boom. But then he shoves Aragorn off in the tree, and when he throws that shield, I feel the intensity of Aragorn realizing, oh shit, he had shot my head off. I don't get his shot, and he just barely gets out of it. And then a quick little duel, and you realize that the Uruk-hai, he's a brute. He has no real skill, and you see Aragorn's skill with the feint, boom, 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 moving quickly, batting aside, gets the hit, and when he stabs him, but he's pulling him in, and the brute thinks, I'm gonna spook this guy. Aragorn's like, hell no, pulls it out, decapitation, and it's over. I love the efficiency of the fight from Aragorn. It's not. I like a good drawn out duel, but I like the efficiency and the hardcore nature of it, where I'm gonna just take you out. I'm not gonna draw this out. I'm gonna kill you. And then when it's over, he's turning around, everything's okay. Oh shit, Boromir. I love that scene. That's not my favorite one. My favorite one, I love the prologue.
Ooh, that is a good one.
I love the prologue. I love seeing the snippets of the actual creation of the Rings of Power.
Wait, you mean Galadriel didn't sacrifice a dick dagger? Galadriel wasn't there fighting Saruman? Sauron?
Yeah. I love seeing that. I love seeing armored Sauron. I love seeing armored Sauron. I really love the battle at the Battle of the Last Alliance. I love that because there's the one moment I love the most, and it's something that's influenced me again as a writer, is when everything seemed won, and then Sauron enters the fray, and him just swatting aside people by the dozens. That's what a big bad does. They enter the fray and just goes, "You are all nothing to me." Boom. There's something about that scene. I just love it.
There's something about I love that scene because of how beautiful the armor looks on just everybody from Sauron to the elves to the men. It just looks so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's such a tragic.
There's no spray paint or pasties on that. There's no
shirt
white
underneath
spot.
all that stuff. That is
yeah.
And
it
I
looks
think
good.
it was just some guy who said like the armor actually wasn't that expensive to make, and it was actually kind of cheap, but they filmed it in such a way that the armor looks better. Like they specifically chose shots to make it look more real.
I love the prologue so much, and because it does what it should do when you're starting a movie, starting a series. It sets the tone too, from a storytelling perspective, from a visual storytelling perspective. You get just the music, and you hear the whispering. I guess it's Elvish, the whispering Elvish, and then
get more
Kate Blanchett monologuing that intro. It's just you're pulled in instantly, and you're ready, and you're there. You don't need any more convincing. everything about that prologue, from the movie, I'm sorry, from the movement, from the intro theme, to the visuals, to the brief telling of what happens in that period there, you're in. Even if you've never seen it before, you're in. Of course, I had seen stuff before. You know, I was well aware of what went on in all this before I went to see this. But you want to be there. And if you're watching extended edition, you're fine for the 3 hours that you're going to be in your chair.
Yeah.
All right.
Or if you're like me, who sits down for 12 hours, because it's hard for me not to watch it all in one sitting. This is the first time
I can break
it
up. Yeah, I can break it up. See, it's easy to break it up because I will happily have something to watch at the end of next week, getting ready while probably mining for more stone and making fucking hard bricks and getting more ichor. That gives me something on right here as I'm just going as I'm running around in Exiles.
Anyways, that other scene, which
what was the other scene you said? I just forgot.
The other scene was when Frodo and Gandalf sit down and they're talking more about Gollum, but it's the simple line of sometimes it's I don't remember how the line actually goes, but
sometimes it takes more strength to show pity. It basically takes more strength to show mercy.
Yeah, mercy.
Than kill somebody, because Frodo's thinking he should just kill Gollum when he had the chance. Oh no. He showed true strength by showing mercy. And that is a great moment. And of course that it's sold by Sir Ian.
It's sold by Sir Ian just playing. I like that scene because it shows who Gandalf is and like the connection to everybody. It shows how wise he is. It shows his connection to Frodo and everything prior. Like we were getting parts that we knew they had a connection, but this moment it feels like it just cements it, and like just joy and happiness, even in this dark area and this daunting task. And when you get the scene that happens thereafter,
well, that whole speech there, it flows through the whole movie, because Frodo holds on to that speech for the rest of the franchise, of the whole I wish I wasn't here. I wish the ring hadn't chosen me. And why do I have to do this? And that's why and then Gandalf says, this had to happen. We're here in these moments because we're the ones who have the strength to carry this out. But it also lets him know subtly that find strength not by yourself, but from others.
You're stronger together.
Yeah.
It was a speech he was given. So he was afraid to come to Middle Earth. He didn't think he could fight Sauron.
Yeah.
He was telling, he was saying the same thing that was told to him.
Because that was the whole thing. He was feeling cowardly about coming to Middle Earth. And you're right, Mustang. You're absolutely right. That's the beauty. It's passing on knowledge, and that's a lot of what goes on in this series. The passing on of experiences.
Just think how bad Rings of Power blew it when they could have shown that as the opening scene. Gandalf, or some scene in it where Gandalf he's more powerful than Sauron. He's the most powerful of them all. And yet he's humble. That says something.
But he's got limiters on because he's in the body of an old man. He
chose that. He chose that.
Because it was easier for humans and people to relate to that old man.
His powers are not diminished one bit. I mean, the only other being that would rival him, and the only one Sauron fears, is Galadriel. The real one, not the one with the dick dagger.
No, it's the dick dagger. That dick dagger. The Morphin Clark is the true Galadriel. I will not hear this bigotry.
You'd eat her. You put her on that altar, you couldn't figure out how to use it, and you'd eat her.
All right, let's go to another one of my favorite scenes now. I love, speaking of Galadriel, the temptation of Galadriel.
Oh.
And it's basically, I mean, Cate Blanchett's in what, 10 minutes of this movie?
Do you count the talking?
I count on the scene. I count on the scene.
Actually, in person.
Maybe 15 at the most.
15 at the most.
10, 15 minutes, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and in that scene, which is probably roughly, I would say, 8 minutes long, the temptation of Galadriel, give or take. My God, she owns the movie right there, in my opinion.
The moment she comes on screen, she owns that scene.
Well,
And
it's
just-
a delicate scene where everybody's sleeping and you just see her feet. And I always look at it because I'm thinking, man, Kate Blanchett walk around barefoot. Wow, I couldn't do that. I hate walk. I walk around
Of course,
barefoot.
you make
at
fun
home.
of me for liking man meat, and you're over here like, oh, the feet.
No, not like that, you horn dog.
I was there last Friday for the feet thing. I don't need to go through that again.
I don't know what. No. I can't possibly think about going barefoot outside my door. I stepped on glass once. I got a piece of glass deep in my heel once from being at the beach on the kids. So I got a thing about being barefoot outdoors. So whenever I see that scene, my first thought is, man, she's walking barefoot. That's brave. That's what I'm saying. Not going sexual. God damn it. That scene is so great because now, of course, when I see that, and I was sitting here, I'm playing Conan and Exiles, and I'm basically lip syncing it because I know that speech when it's happening. I can't quote it now. I'm terrible at it. But while it's happening, I can say we're firm. So I'm there quoting it, and while I'm playing, I stop and I thought to myself, and I looked over because TV's right here, and I thought to myself, Galadriel Warrior Princess would have taken the ring. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I'm thinking real Galadriel survives your temptation, but Galadriel Warrior Princess would have taken the ring.
Absolutely.
So,
that's one of my problems with the movie, though, is that entire scene through there, because they didn't do it per book, and without doing, I mean, they did Gimli to a degree because of extended, but without seeing the interaction with Gimli and her, and all the elves' reaction to him getting those 3 hairs. It took something away from it for me because I know what that meant.
I understand that, but just that's why it's one of my favorite scenes. Though it's just the power of it and the effects. It took me a while. It took me a couple of viewings way back in the day to realize the facial alterations that they did to Kate Blanchett during that scene where she's dark Galadriel, and said, "You have a queen." And you see her face, and it took me a long time, again, back in the day, to realize, oh, wait, they are accentuating aspects, because then when she phases back to normal Galadriel, I realize, whoa, shit, her face changed. And that's why it's even more powerful, because you got a glimpse of this horrible, dark being that would have done horrible things, like Gandalf says, in the desire for good. But I love the powerful nature of it. It's the fact that she goes, I remain Galadriel. I am now able to diminish into the west.
She's able to go home.
Because that was her quest.
Well, that's the end of her redemption. Mustang, why don't you explain that to us? The end of Galadriel's redemption. When it comes that being her final redemption for that. Why don't you explain that to us?
Where do you want me to start on it? Because I could go all the way back to the beginning.
Why is that such a big deal that like Jeremy said, it's the end of her quest, the end of her redemption? Why? I'll just not super deep, but give us the bare essentials of why it's so important. That moment, why it's so powerful.
Without reading the books, it's hard to do it. There was a kinslaying that happened. The gods got involved. She was sent to the east. And, God, I can't do this without going through the whole thing. It's that.
Well, come on. You can give the bullet points. Just give the bullet points.
Basically,
you know it better than I do. That's why I'm asking.
She had to prove herself worthy to return Valor. Is that comes down to.
Repeat it. We just lost your audio. Say that again. We just lost your audio. Say that again.
She has to prove she's worthy to return home because of events that happened before even the Hobbit.
In the first stage.
Yes, first age events, the kinslaying.
Because she basically went against the wishes of the gods, right?
To a degree, yes. It's a true redemption. It's just read the book. Got it. Knowing Galadriel is so hard.
But we're trying to generate the
I
discussion.
know, it's
Why
just
so
so hard
important.
for me to talk about it because I know that entire story, and
Yeah,
just
but
giving a bullet point card on that one.
oh, come on, just
No,
try. Try
Ultimate.
for
I'm
me. Try
trying.
for me. Try for
Well,
me.
Bridget says it best. Her brothers were evil. She went along with
Yeah.
it and didn't stop them. And this was her ultimate. She ended up being excommunicado from
Yeah, well, her brothers
West.
and her uncle even.
Yes, she
Totally
wasn't allowed
good.
to return until she proved herself worthy and like pure again. So this ultimately
there you
was
go.
the final test.
Okay, thank. There it is.
That and also trying to
That's
kill
a better bullet
Sauron,
point,
you
yeah,
know.
because I want to always talk about the whole thing. It's so hard for me with
Well, you
the
don't.
story.
Well, you don't have to talk about all of it. We're just talking about the streamlined version of
I
why
know, I
this is the
get it,
moment.
I get it. It's hard for me.
She's now given the most powerful artifact in this world. That is, no matter what you do, and that's the power of the ring. No matter what you want to do, the
Almost as
ring
strong as the
has
dagger.
one purpose: to corrupt, to dominate, because it's tied to Sauron's soul.
There's even more to it than that with
I
her.
love her.
She
But you
has
know what I'm
another
saying,
ring.
though?
No, she has She has a second ring. She would hold 2 rings of power. She would be unstoppable.
That too, but still, it would still corrupt her. And
Oh
my
yeah.
point is, it's not so much power. I'm talking about the corruption aspect, and that what Gandalf says when Frodo tries to pass the ring to Gandalf in the beginning of the movie. Don't tempt me, Frodo. You don't know. In my desire to do good through me, the ring would do great evil. There is no and that's the whole point. There is no compromise when it comes to the ring. It will
must be
destroy.
destroyed.
It will destroy everybody. And if it gets in the hands of Sauron again, he will destroy the world. He'll reshape it in his image. And so for her to have it literally right here, it's inches from her fingertips. And
No, Bridget.
her final test is, will I fall? No, I don't. And that's why it's so powerful when she says, "I remain Galadriel."
Yes, it is.
And
It's
yeah, that's why I'm saying. That's why I
great.
love that scene, because it's the culmination of her journey, which is why she has no part in the story from that point on. Her story is complete in that moment. Granted, we haven't actually seen that story. Maybe one day we shall in a better format, but we haven't actually seen that story.
Let me address Bridget real quick. No, she would not have brought back the 2 trees of life. If she would have gone evil, she would have turned the world dark. Even if she could. Go ahead.
Oh, is it possible to bring the 2 trees back?
Not that anything that I know of.
I don't think it was. From my understanding, like the reason, like that story of the 2 trees is also a reflection of the story of the One Ring. It's absolute power, absolute corrupts, and there was never any way to bring it back after it was destroyed. Well, I think they're still alive. Actually, the pieces of the tree. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I
They're
don't.
Galadriel's hair.
Again, I'm not a lore guy for Lord of the Rings. I pick up what others around me say.
I know a decent bit, but not as much as others.
Yeah, that's why I'm happy to have Mustang here, because he knows all this shit better than I do. And he'll catch me if I make a mistake before the chat does. The chat
Yeah, but you asked me a Galadriel question. You know how I am about her.
Yeah, so that's why I
unfair
asked
to me.
you. Yeah, but well, just that's why that's why I'm keeping you on the rails, though. I'm not letting you go off the rails. But that's why I love that scene, because it's the end of a journey we haven't seen. But if you understand the importance of it, it's powerful. And of course, Kate Blanchett nails it. She nails it, and it's just fantastic.
About it is how they showed how tall elves were with the camera trickery. That was perfect. Because elves are supposed to be very tall. Galadriel's 6'4".
Yeah.
Not 5'2".
Yeah. Well, we could take a quick moment and talk about the technology that was pioneered in this movie, the shrinking technology, to have the hobbits and the dwarves matched up against humans and elves.
That was always so fascinating technology. And there's only one moment that it kind of breaks, and that's when
Gimli.
Not Gimli. It was when Nazgul meets that one hobbit in the woods to try to figure out where Bilbo and all them are.
Oh,
and there's that
yeah, I know
dog
who you're
next to
talking about.
him.
Uh-huh.
And the dog is actually like to size of how a normal dog would look like, but compared to a hobbit, that must be one damn small dog. But it's actually not a small breed, so
Yeah, for me, the technology breaks when they always do a close up on John Rhys Davies for a Gimli line, and then you pull out and you realize it's just some dude in makeup and not John Rhys Davies. That's when it breaks for me.
I think the reason why we didn't get Tom Bombadil's line is because of the technology. They just couldn't do it. Because that would have, God, how would they
Let's
have done
talk
that?
about that for a minute. That I even saw that come up today. It's always come up. Why is Tom Bombadil not in Fellowship?
my understanding is it's so he's more complicated than he acts, so they just didn't want to put him in because it's kind of all over the place and it doesn't translate well to film, so they just
And there's not enough time to explain who or what Tom Bombadil is.
because Tom Bombadil isn't fully explained even in the books. Like you don't know who he is, and everybody has their theory on who he is, but I personally think it's somewhat Tolkien, but Tolkien also has his own incarnation in the whole storyline, so I don't know who he's supposed to be.
God.
Well, he's not even God because he says specifically that he was there hearing the song when it was sang. He's one of the he can't be God because there is a God and that's not him. He's actually said, I ain't that guy.
Tom said a lot of things. If you read everything over Tom, there's only two people it could be. It could be God or it's Tolkien.
Well, there's also comments from Tolkien that nerd debate.
Let me take
real
a step
quick.
back. Now, again, this is a very casual observance of Tom Bombadil. Whenever I hear these discussions happen, I always come to kind of the conclusion that Tom Bombadil represents just the carefree life force that is life itself.
Yes.
Yes.
And that he's an incarnation of just life that doesn't care about the petty arguments of everything, which is why he could take the ring and go whoop, because he doesn't care.
There are certain things within the world of Middle Earth and stuff that weren't fully created by the sound. They are just incarnations of like the Song of Creation. They weren't created by that. They have just lived on for all eternity. And the theory is that Tom Bombadil is one of those things, just like the creature at the bottom of the river or the lake.
The bottom of the lake.
That is what Tom Bombadil is, but in a good instance. The creature is in a bad instance. So that's what they're supposed to be.
Just this a force in nature that has just existed and took that form.
Yes,
that's how I've always perceived it.
I would say
this conversation comes up. Primal. That's a good word for it. That's a good word for it. Primal force.
When I say like he's supposed to represent this or this, he's a primal force, but there's theories that he's supposed to be Tolkien himself, but he is God, but he's not God because he's been specifically said not to be God. So I think he is just a primal being.
And if he would be Tolkien being a religious man wouldn't make himself God.
Yeah. And
he wouldn't do
Tolkien
that.
specifically has his own incarnation that is actually mentioned in Fellowship in the extended cut. The elf that's supposed to be an incarnation of Aragorn and stuff. There was another version of that where back in the First Age where an elf gave her love to a man.
Yes.
Cannot remember the story itself, but that is who Tolkien made him and his wife to be. That was their story, actually. And on their tombstone is those names. Not Aragorn and
Arwen.
Arwen. I always get those two. Arwen. I always get Arwen and Arwen mixed up. But not Aragorn and Arwen, but these other two that were supposed to be who their story. So
yeah, so I guess all right. So but I think overall, Tom Bombadil, the best explanation for the movie is that he just could not fit in the structure of the movie with the time allowed. If you're doing a TV series, yes, you could do it.
Yes, it would still be kind of hard because he's
there
so
there would be
unique.
time though.
Yes.
In let's say in a 15 episode season where you have 15 hours, you could fit him in there, I think.
It would take 9 episodes to do Tom Bombadil justice.
9 episodes.
Yeah.
He's a
I've
very
thought about
unique.
this a lot.
he's a very unique character and a very powerful character. And even in the books, like they question, why don't we just give the ring to Tom Bombadil, because it has no effect on Tom Bombadil? And Gandalf specifically says he'll forget about it and just throw it away because he just doesn't care.
Yeah. Well, okay, so since it came up, we asked a question. Let's move on to stay what's actually in the movie. Let's get back to what's actually in the movie.
I will answer Bridget real quick.
Oh,
Mary, Goldberry, she is a elf. So no, Tom's the one in question. We know who Goldberry is.
Okay. Not sure what that's a reference to, but Mustang is here for that kind of
Tom's wife.
Oh, okay. I don't know the lore. I don't know the lore. All right. Mustang, what's your next favorite scene after your first one?
After my first one.
After the death of Boromir.
I think it's actually right there with it. It's, we have, no, God, I love all the movie, but it's always Sam and Frodo scenes after that for that
really
for the Fellowship. Yeah, everything after that is Sam and yeah. The lake. I mean, he's drowning. He goes back.
Okay.
Those are unique scenes.
I just
go ahead.
When it comes to Sam and Frodo, I get they're important, and I know that
people think they're gay.
Well, not just that. I know that in the movies, it's a drastically different relationship than what it's portrayed in the book, because they made it more bro time in the movies than the master servant relationship that it is in the book. But I don't know.
It's Elijah.
We'll talk about it more in Two Towers when we really get the Sam and Frodo scenes, because that's when it's Sam and Frodo time. And I have a lot to always say about the Two Towers and the division of the scenes and the plot arcs. But I can see why I say that, because it's the moment, because that's the beginning of the eventual payoff. Because without Sam, Frodo fails.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sam's blind loyalty is what saves Frodo in the end. And that's the important.
Not blind. It's not blind.
All right, maybe I used the wrong word. Maybe blind is the wrong word, but unwavering.
Yeah.
Unwavering is a better word. His unwavering loyalty, where he will march literally to death. He can't swim. He's marching into that water. And I guess, is it because he knows Frodo will reach out a hand to him?
No.
No?
No, it's because of his wielding loyalty that Gandalf told him to do. One, it's the master servant relationship of sorts, but also it's the one job Gandalf told him to do that he'll do to the ends of the earth.
Sam will not fail.
Yes. Sam's undying loyalty to everybody. He's a prime Hufflepuff.
Yes, he is. Oh my God, he actually is.
But it is also friendship. It is loyalty. It is this idea that this is my task, is to ensure Frodo gets there, and I ain't gonna leave Frodo alone. No matter what was told, no matter what Frodo said, I was told to walk with this man to the bitter end, and that's what I'm going to do. Even if I don't like it.
I'm still latched onto your Hufflepuff reference. I'm trying to work my head around that.
Because he's loyal. The whole point of Hufflepuffs is loyalty.
You threw me for a loop with that one.
So how did you come to it? But it's so true.
I also want to just get this in there.
Fool of a took. Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
Oh God,
I want to get that in.
I don't I have to make a comment there.
Yeah,
I kind of feel sorry for Pippin.
All right. Let's talk about Merry and Pippin. The start. This. What's fascinating, as this is the start of their journey in this. They're there, but we get very little of them overall in this first movie. Their story is frankly very enjoyable overall as we go forward.
Merry and Pippin end up being kind of heroes in the end, but
yes,
the reason why that scene kind of just breaks my heart with Pippin with him just, getting chewed out because he knows he effed up, but he wasn't even trying to F up. And he just gets chewed out because he made all that ruckus. And it's like, I didn't mean to. And it hurts because I see him.
Well,
I see the actor there, he looks all sad and stuff because he didn't mean to cause all that. And
it's the carelessness, though. That's the thing that Pippin overall will learn going forward, is that you can't be so careless. Pippin's careless nature screws them over almost multiple times from now the next two movies. I mean, a lot of the problems in Two Towers and in Return of the King, when we get there, is because Pippin hasn't realized the direness of what they're in.
He didn't really do much in Two Towers, but in Return of the King, yeah, that is 100% carelessness. But in that scene, he just accidentally backed into something. That's why
he just wasn't. I have a personal pet peeve about that, of people not being aware of their surroundings. So that's why I may be coming out a little harsh on Pippin in that moment, because I really get annoyed when people do not take care to know what's going on around them. And when he does that, it's just, dude, everybody's taking very careful care where they are. You're just going to bump. And then the goblins know they're there.
The reason why I relate with that is because I'm a very clumsy guy. I'm a very large guy. And because I know that, I'm very careful of where I walk. But at the same time, I will accidentally walk into something without realizing it and cause a bunch of chaos. That's why it's like, I didn't mean to do it. It just resonates with me. And when I see Gandalf chewing his ass out, it's like, he didn't mean to, dude. It was an accident.
Kale brings up a great point. He doesn't understand the seriousness yet. Mary already is understanding at this point. He's getting it. He's getting it. And that's proven in the fights in the end, where they're trying to get Frodo to come to them, and Pippin's like, "Come on!" And Mary's like, "He's like, what are you doing?" And Mary goes, "He's leaving us." He gets it. That's when Mary starts to get it. And Mary's the one that gets it so much earlier than Pippin does. We'll get more of that going forward in the other movies, but Mary gets it way more. And Bridget Bruce, Pippin, he's the kid in this, but he's forced to grow up quickly as we go forward.
I think I don't like how that scene's played out. A better version is if you watch the animated movie. Pippin he just starts dropping rocks down that well. I think that works a little bit more with like the careless nature than
that would
just accidentally bumping into a skeleton and then getting his ass chewed out.
Yeah, but it's I think it really does. I think we're all feeding to the same point, though, and it really, again, this is the beauty of the movie, though. The beauty of it. Look what we're talking about. We're talking about his careless nature of it, but it's no matter how we come out of it, it gets the point across that Pippin is careless. He doesn't understand the dire nature of what they're into, what the stakes are. Because remember, and I remark on this because that's where on my what I have, it's broken into 2 discs. I got it's just the 2 discs, part 1 and the part 2 for extended edition. It breaks at the council in Rivendell, where Merry and Pippin have said, "Oh, we're coming too," and now we're all the fellowship. And Pippin's final line is, "Great, where are we going?"
Okay, I love that.
Where are we going?
I love Pippin. I love.
But it beautifully encapsulates. This is how great the movie does a good job of it. With these moments, we're easily made to understand what's going on here with these characters. And again, Merry and Pippin, they've been here all the time, but they haven't had focal scenes. The focal scenes in this movie center around Gandalf, Frodo, Aragorn, and if you're talking to them, you're going to be focused on that. But that's who gets the focal time in this movie. And it's the next movie when, Pippin and Merry get their own adventure with the Ents. Then they get their solid screen time. But in these small moments where they're just interacting with everybody else, whether it's early on the playful stuff, but then the serious nature coming in, starting to dawn, especially on Merry, and then Pippin's still kind of oblivious. Look how well Peter Jackson gets the reaction that we understand what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
This careless little hobbit is unaware, and it's also you say he's unaware. He doesn't realize the danger that Moria represents. So he's just kind of go la 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 la. But I love it. I love it how it impacts us as we talk about this.
He is the youthful representation of going off to war.
And
that's
that's a motif, a theme that Tolkien wants to represent, because this was written after the horrors of war. So that's great. All right. What's another one from me? Another scene. This it feels like the best way to jump around and lead to topics. Let's see. I said prologue. I said Galadriel. The fight. I guess I got everybody's favorite scene. We all love this. The flight through Moria once shit hits the fan. I want to bring this up just because I want to talk about the cultural impact of Gandalf standing off against the Balrog. And we could talk a lot of angles. Before we do that, though, before we go into deep down, I want to say when the whole "you shall not pass." To me, I didn't realize how important that was until, or the lasting impact, not just because what it is, what it means, but in the Star Wars expanded universe, in the New Jedi Order saga, the War Against the Vong, there's a Jedi Knight called Ganner, and he was an arrogant asshole, believes his shit came on a silver platter, thought, oh, I'm a great Jedi, and he gets humbled in the end during a particular mission in the story. I don't want to spoil it, we're not there yet. And he ends up in a moment where he does, "You shall not pass." He draws a line in the ground, and unfortunately, because of the nature of the enemy, they come at him one at a time. But he has a literal Gandalf moment. He doesn't say "you shall," he says, "None shall pass this line," so that his friends can escape and report on what they've encountered. And he dies a hero's death there. Now, of course, Gandalf does die, but not immediately there. But that when I saw that, I realized, holy shit, that's how literally significant "you shall not pass" is.
Mm-hmm.
That's how important it is. And
"You shall not pass" is just the man willing to sacrifice his life to protect everybody.
Yeah. Now let's go into this scene now in general. I mean, it's the moment where the Fellowship starts to really crumble, because without Gandalf, it's the glue. Because no one's going to stand, even though Gandalf says a lot of times the ring bearer shall make the choice where we're going to go to that. Gandalf is the glue, because none of them there are going to question his wisdom or question his direction.
Because of multiple reasons, because it wasn't a fellowship that was kind of naturally formed. They never actually knew each other beforehand. They just came together.
Well, Aragorn and Legolas did.
Yeah, Aragorn and Legolas knew each other, but everybody else just joined up for other reasons.
And everybody knows Gandalf, though.
Yes, everybody knows Gandalf. And when you look at everything, like some of them had ulterior motives. Like the only real reason Gimli kind of joined up was because an elf was joining up, and his kind of bigotry towards elves.
His ego.
Yes.
Oh, you have my axe.
Yeah. And then Boromir joined because of his quest put on by his father, and because the ring was starting to corrupt him. Because the ring knew that he wanted it, so that's why he joined. Gandalf was that glue, and Frodo was never really the leader. Frodo just wanted this all.
That's an argument. Frodo never leads anything. Frodo just gets pulled along in everything. Now, Frodo's importance is that, as somebody said it earlier in the chat here, because Frodo never knew the things that the ring corrupts easily, which is why he had such resistance to it. But even that resistance will wear down over time.
Mm-hmm.
But Frodo isn't a leader. He's not even a great hero. He just moves along begrudgingly at times and somewhat desperately at times. And he really does need the support of others to move forward, even an enemy like Gollum, Smeagol. That's why, though, that's why Gandalf was the glue, though. He was the one that kept it balanced. So when that scene is so important for a lot of reasons. One, that's the breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think Boromir makes the attempt on the ring if Gandalf is there.
No,
he'd still make it. He would.
No,
later it wouldn't. I don't think it would have happened in that fashion, though. And maybe Gandalf might have stopped it ahead of time because he would have seen it happening.
Yes, he would have seen it happening, but it would have still happened even with Gandalf there. There would have been a fight with him and Gandalf.
That's true, but I think Gandalf you're right, but it would have gone down differently. Gandalf would have interceded before he made the attempt to take the ring from Frodo.
Honestly, Frodo's pure of heart. That's why Frodo is the best ring bearer. He's just pure of heart.
Hobbits are the best ring bearer because they don't care. Kind of like how Tom Bombadil would be because they care about other stuff. The only
thing hobbits are gluttonous. That's the only thing hobbits are. They're gluttonous.
Problem with hobbits, though, is Smeagol's a hobbit. So not all hobbits. You've got to be pure of heart. And Frodo was pure of heart.
Well,
I'm going to admit this now.
He was a river.
I'm going to maybe. I'm going to. Well, we'll debate that later. I'm going to make probably an unpopular opinion. I don't like Frodo. I've never liked Frodo.
Do you not like Elijah, or do you not like Frodo?
Both. I'm not a fan of Elijah Wood either. I'm also not a fan of the character of Frodo. Mainly because, again, like from my perspective, I feel as though he's just pulled along by events sometimes. And the one time he takes action at the end, he's lost himself.
I have to disagree. In Fellowship, I would say for the majority of Fellowship, he is pulled along, but until the very end when he chooses to go off on his own, where he makes that decision that, hey, I don't want everybody else to suffer, so I'm going to do this on my own. That's when Frodo takes charge. But until that point, he's not the leader. He is the one being pulled around. He doesn't know what's going on.
I don't think he's ever the leader. Now, again, I have to keep my powder dry for the next movie where I'll really make my case about why I dislike Frodo as a character based on the movies, not on the books. Based on the movies. Because again, a lot of my evidence for my opinion comes from Two Towers. A lot of that comes from there.
I think he makes shitty decisions, but I don't think he's
I just don't like his. I do not like him as a character. I just don't. But it's more. It gets more flushed out in the next movie, which is why I'm keeping my powder dry for next weekend for that one. I'll say in this one again, I don't dislike him in this one because of his pulled along nature in this. He's kind of pushed and prodded. He makes one decision. That is the brave hero decision. I will take the ring. That is the moment of that. That is the proper heroic moment. I will take the ring.
Well, there's
what?
Now that you say that, there's the moment in Council of Elrond's Council or Council of Elrond, and then there's the moment at the very end after he's seeing how the ring is corrupting everybody that he takes it again. Those are his.
You just said that it's his choice to leave. Those are, those are him, in my opinion, just doing the logical choice. To me, it's at least the second one. The first one is that's the brave thing, saying I'll take it, because at the council in Rivendell, when he's watching the ring twist everybody at the council into fighting each other, and that's the epicness of that scene where you have everybody arguing and you hear the music playing and you hear the thumping of the ring,
and you see the screen actually getting darker and darker.
Yeah, everything's chaotic, and you see Frodo, and he realizes right there, this ring is destroying everybody, and they can't make a point on that. Okay, I'll do it. That I give Frodo all the respect in the world because that's the moment where he does a hero move. I'll do it. I don't want to, because you realize in the beginning of that scene when he puts the ring down on the stump and then goes to sit down, the utter relief of being free of it in that moment. Oh, I'm done with this. Oh, thank God. I can go back to the Shire now. Great. But then he has to reverse that decision. That was a hero move. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the story goes on. It's just everything he does just pisses me off more and more as the story goes on.
Well,
I know it's a possibly unpopular take, and I'm ready to take my heat for it later on.
You'll take your heat for it. Don't worry. I will berate you into next month.
Oh, you come at me, man.
I will
man-eater.
come at you. I will come at you hard. All day
You know,
and night.
You know what I'm gonna do now. You know what I'm gonna do.
Yes, I can take it in the face.
Yeah,
I knew exactly where
yeah.
you're going with that. I did it before you even did it.
Yeah, and then I'll say this.
You are a worthless turd.
And I'll
I
do
already
that.
know that. Anyways,
I
but
know.
You know, there's another take to that. The ring
Go
already
ahead.
had the ring already had corrupted Frodo. It wanted him to bring it home.
Well, all right, walk us through that.
He had already been in contact with it. He'd already been carrying it. The ring corrupts. It's not a slow, gradual thing. It's I got you. Had he given it to somebody else, who knows what could have happened? But
It's the that's why when we talk about it with Frodo, I didn't say uncorruptible. I just said the resistance.
yeah, this is one of those areas where Tolkien said, "Okay, I'm leaving this up to the interpretation of the person reading this to interpret how they see it. That's these specific scenes." He left that ambiguity. Can't even talk right now.
ambiguity.
Thank you. He left that for the reader. And that's what makes it so great. And when reading a book in chapter 7 of yours, there's some of that in your book.
I think
What
I don't
happened
think
chapter
he was.
7?
I think the corruption began, but I do think it's not. He was
Not gonna remember
already
that
corrupt. I think it was the seed was planted and it slowly
Yeah.
took hold. It took a long time to take hold of him because one of the pure heart nature and two hobbits just are naturally harder to corrupt than anything else. So
Go ahead.
I think that's one of the reasons he was the best choice.
Just to answer you on Smeagol, yes, he's a riverfolk, but there's a lot of speculation that he is one of the hobbit species as well, Durham. It's another nerd debate that's gone on for a long time. I subscribe to, he's probably one of them to some degree, but
I think he's more of a hobbit than the what the fuck were they called? The creatures that deserve to be genocided.
Harfoots?
Yes, he's more of a hobbit than the Harfoots.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I just don't want to talk about Rings of Power.
I'm gonna keep bringing it up just because
we talk about it to make fun of it because it's fun.
Yeah, and to compare it to what is actually good, what is actually sustainable, and what we can keep going back to and watching and being like, oh, it's so fucking
You can't
good.
have a nerd debate about Rings of Power. You just can't because it's just stupid.
No, we have
Well,
nerd
that too.
debates. We just call the people that like it freaking morons. That's when we get the nerd debates started.
There is stuff about Stan even.
Harfoots disgust me, says Heron of Alexandria. Amen. I love you, darling.
Thank you. Yeah, Heron is right. Harfoots. Well, they're cannibals.
Hey, Dermy.
Wait a minute, Dermy. You should like the Harfoots.
No. You see,
Safari are Harfoots, Dermy.
Yes, that's why I cleanse the places of them. I cleanse them. They must be eradicated.
George was bad.
All right.
Did you go read chapter 7 real quick?
I didn't. I don't remember. I know all my events. I just don't know what point of the story that was. What's going on there? I have to check. Oh, what was I ambiguous about? I don't know. I know everything. I just what moment. I mean, I leave a lot of things interpretation, or I hint at what's going on, but I don't remember. I had to go check where it was in the story. I don't remember.
You'll see it. You'll see it and go, oh yeah. It's kind of like
Maybe. I know the events of the chapter there now, but I'm not sure what I'm. Listen, I don't know. I know what I do. I don't know. Like only a few people have read this now, so I don't know what interpretations people are gonna get from what I do in the first book. And we're going a little tangent here. Just Mustang made a reference to my book. Who he's doing a pre-read for it right now. So when he says that, it's like, okay, what did I do? What did I do? I don't know what I do. But
one, but not the rest of them.
Yeah. But the resistance factor, the Hobbit purity. I mean, these are all factors, but that is, like Mustang said, that is an important factor when drawing in readers, drawing in viewers. In this case, give us enough to work with. If we're an intelligent viewer, we're going to put things together and we're all going to come to certain logical conclusions. But then sometimes there's going to be something left open for debate, and that's a good storytelling tactic to generate discussion, which is why we're able to have these discussions. That's why I'm very careful to say. That's why I was very careful when I said Frodo was highly resistant, because we have to remember the entire point of this is, as I started to mention earlier, there is no beating the ring.
No,
there's no beating the ring, and that's Tolkien's point. You cannot compromise with evil. Evil will always win out if you let it in. And when you take the ring, you're letting evil in. That's why, and I'm sorry, I'm going to go back to it. That's why Rings of Power fails in its attempt to tell a story, because it talks about compromising.
Yes.
To do something evil. That's why inherently Rings of Power fails as an adaptation of Lord of the Rings, and why these movies are good adaptations, because Peter Jackson held to the aspect that Tolkien wanted to put out there. There is no compromise. There's good, there's evil. The gray in between is left to those who are going to go which way. But once you go to the evil and you let it in completely, it will corrupt you. Now, can there be redemption? Tolkien was a religious man. He obviously believes in redemption. He was a Catholic, a devout Catholic. That's all. Catholicism is all about redemption. You know, redeeming yourself for your sins. Galadriel redeems herself. So obviously, the story does lend to redemption, but ultimate evil, like the ring, you can't. There is no redeeming that. So
it is purely evil. There is
pure
no redeeming,
evil, because it was created with the pure intent to destroy and dominate. And that's there is no good aspect of something that wants to dominate your very soul. So that's why it works. And Peter Jackson got it when he put all this into motion to make sure that we saw it gets you from the very beginning. Hell, there's a moment early on, you saw it early on in the very beginning. This leads to Mustang's point. This could lead to Mustang's point. Mustang, I'm going to back you up on your statement here that the ring had Frodo. When the Nazgul are first tracking them in the Shire, and there's the near miss when they first run into Merry and Pippin, the ring is guiding Frodo into putting it on, which would immediately alert the Nazgul that he's right there. So, Mustang, you're right. The ring had him at that moment, because he was already, without Sam to grab his hand, the ring goes on his finger, the Nazgul gets him, whichever Nazgul it was, it gets him, and game over.
Well, even at the Council of Elrond, the music was the ring's music. That just, it keeps, Peter was trying to tell everybody that it had him. And I can pretty much tell you where, well, it goes back to old forums, Prodigy, and that's where a lot of the discussion came from originally on Tolkien. And we had that debate for a long time, and it came down to it. Yeah, he definitely was under its influence. He was not going to give it up at that point.
He resisted it in terms of he understood it had to be taken to be destroyed, but at the very last moment, as we all know, again, we're cheating here, he fails. Frodo fails, just like everybody else will always fail. But again, we'll talk about that in 2 weeks for Return of the King, the final moment there. That's the beauty of that's the beauty of this time, the way we're doing this. We're going to go week to week. We're going to not have to wait to drag out these conversations. We will get to those moments, and we'll complete the conversation.
Return of the King has more endings than A Kami Got Kill.
Oh God, yeah.
We're not done yet. Okay, we're not done yet. Okay, we're not done. Okay, but hey, I'll sit through it all.
Oh, my favorite in the entire series is in that last part of Return of the King.
No, I think my favorite moment is in Two Towers overall, and I'll say it next week. My favorite moment is in Two Towers.
We'll wait for me to tell you my favorite moment in the entire series.
When the orc says,
meat's back on the menu, boys?
No. I have a moment that every time I see it, it's like I'm willing to lay down my life for this cause. I am willing to go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's see. What else can we say? I mean, again, the delicacy of having this conversation, the interesting obstacle we have is how can we talk about this in a way that hasn't been talked about constantly? And that's why I
go watch the extended cut. The theatrical cut is the inferior cut and needs to be cast aside, just like Rings of Power.
Well,
one thing that hardly gets discussed: the music of this.
Well, okay, we like to end on music. I want to see if we could squeak out a couple more scene discussion. You know how we do it. We were on the show. We talk about soundtrack at the very end. Do we have any more scenes you want to bring up? Because I feel like that's with only the three of us here, we can only go so far.
I know. I think this isn't really a scene, but it's a point. Every time they go to a new place, you see and I'm not going to throw in.
All right, I see where to go with this. Go say your point, and I know where to go with this.
The grandiose nature of the world.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's take ourselves out of talking about the story, since we can go back and forth over all this stuff over and over again. And frankly, in my opinion, the best stuff comes in the next two movies for me.
This is a setup movie.
Yeah. Yes, what could be bad? Some say we are talking Ring. We are talking Fellowship with the Ring. We're near the end though right now because we're over an hour in. Anyway, let's step out of the story for a minute. Let's talk about the production, because Dermy, you just opened the door for that. This is what a pure combination of practical and CGI looks like. Well,
for the most part, it was all practical.
But you know what I mean, though. You guys know what I mean. They amped up the CGI a little bit towards the end because we got bigger and bigger scenes. But you understand. This is what committing to making a movie looks like, because we all know the history. New Line was all in on this. Without, I believe it was just New Line. Somebody correct me. If this had failed, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this would have been the end.
It was the end. They went all in. We are committing everything possible to making this work. So we're gonna do what movie studios should always do. We're gonna hire the best merit-based team possible. And they got Peter Jackson and his crew. Phenomenal choice in the end. Phenomenal. Because we've all seen the clips. I don't have them, but we've seen them in other videos. I want to tell Tolkien's story. I'm not going to tell my story. I'm here to tell Tolkien's story. Give you the best adaptation I can give you that's respectful to the lore.
And that's why Tolkien fans can at least accept it. Like even hardcore people can say, I don't like parts about it.
Yeah, there are those who say that certain things change from the books, and I would be one of those people maybe if I was a hardcore Tolkien book fan, which I'm not. I might be on that, but you have to say there's this. This is the happiest of happy mediums you could get when it comes to this. So you got the right team, and we've talked about the cast. You got perfect cast. Now, once upon as I understand the story, before going to Sir Ian, they went to Sir Sean Connery first.
Yes.
Imagine James Bond as Gandalf. Now, I don't know.
I like Sean. I like Sean a lot.
He's my number one. He's the man in this household. I love Sean Connery. I love him. I'm not the person to ask about this one because I'm biased.
I like Sean.
I probably would have loved it.
No, I like Sean. Green Knight Sean and King Arthur Sean.
Green Knight Sean is bad.
He could not have done. He could not have pulled off Gandalf the way it needed to be done.
Not to take this back to Harry Potter real quick, but I think
shut up! Don't do it.
Just it would have been shut the fuck up. It would have been similar to how, when the first actor that played Dumbledore passed away, and they changed into
Richard Harris.
Richard Harris passed away, and they changed into the other guy. Oh, yeah. I'm awful with names. But
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon,
Is that,
maybe.
yeah. Is it?
But when the change happened, they had different takes on Dumbledore, and a lot of people prefer the first guy.
Oh,
I think this is
Sir
one of those
Richard Harris, of course.
Yes, but also it's because Dumbledore is very reserved, and the way Sir Richard Harris delivered it, it felt more magical. It felt more contained and controlled, and you knew what this guy was respectful. I'm not knocking the other guy's performance. I like it, but it was different for who Dumbledore is. I think in this situation with Gandalf, I don't think Sean Connery could have pulled
You're
off
probably
Gandalf.
right. I mean, remember, I am biased. I have a fanboy in me for Sir Sean. Sean Connery wasn't a stage actor. Sir Ian was a stage actor. Or is a stage actor. He's still with us. He's still with us. Sir Ian brings that level of stage prominence, that ability to completely immerse oneself in the role like that. So there is that difference. And that's probably why, in the end, Sir Ian is the better choice to play Gandalf. Also, he looks the part.
He pulls it off so well.
I mean, all they had to do was add the hair. That's all they had to do was add the hair. That's his nose. There's no extra pieces of makeup on there. It's just, let's add the hair and we're there.
I don't think Sean Connery could have pulled it off. Plus his accent, the way he delivers lines.
It's a different British accent. Well, he's Scottish. He's Scottish. So
I don't think it would have worked because the way Ian McKellen delivers it, it has that magical moment.
There's a different tone, a different tenor to it. And you're right. I'm agreeing. Again, that's why I said I'm biased, because I want to see Sean Connery in everything back in the day.
And to be fair, I'm also an Ian McKellen simp, so
that's fine. See, at least we can admit this. We can both admit it. And that's why I stated my bias. But the casting, Sir Ian he ended up being the perfect choice. I will never ever say that. Everybody else, we know, everybody else kind of fell into line too. I mean, I'm not the biggest Elijah Blue fan.
Vigo
wasn't even the first choice, right? I mean,
no, he wasn't. He
He's
only
like
did
10.
it because his son asked him to, and he wasn't even interested in doing it. But he did it, and he did it well.
Oh yeah.
There's even
I'm gonna say this: Vigo Aragorn. He's my favorite in the entire trilogy. Vigo Aragorn. He's my favorite. I love every moment he's on the camera. Every scene. It's great.
Gimli.
Listen, I'm a huge John Rhys Davies fan. I'm a huge John Rhys Davies fan. I love John Rhys Davies, but I love Aragorn in this.
It's hard to pick out your favorite, but John Rhys Davies is my favorite.
Well, hey, we're all different. Hey, we all have our favorites. I love the hero. I love the hero. Aragorn's. You relate to Aragorn's reluctant heroism at first, like Mustang said earlier. I love the reluctant hero of not wanting anything to do with this, but then the death of Boromir pushes him over the edge to, well, shit, I got to do this now.
Well,
I
also,
can't turn away. And
Viggo Mortensen went all in on this character.
Oh,
he is a character actor.
He slept with that sword. He slept with that sword. It was in his bed.
This is going ahead a little bit. There's a behind the scenes video from New Zealand at the end of Return of the King, where even the New Zealanders, like the people that are from there, the native New Zealander, the locals, like the
Maori.
The Maui?
Maori.
Just say the locals.
The local. The people, the indigenous. They actually did a special dance honoring him as the true king, because they loved him so much. They appreciated him so much, and he put so much into this role that they're like, yeah, you're the king now. So here, we're going to give you the king dance.
But you say that, but you bring it up. So we got the casting. We can go on and on with the casting, but then the scenery, New Zealand, this place in this world, on our planet that just has all the aspects you need to make Middle Earth.
Has a volcano. It has this beautiful rolling lands. It has mountains. It has this beauty that you're like, God, New Zealand's pretty cool if it wasn't so fucked up.
If it wasn't such a dictatorship over there, huh?
Yeah.
But what we're talking about though is the production. I mean, some of the best moments of their film is when they're playing the Lord of the Rings theme, the Fellowship theme, dun 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 dun. We're in the Fellowship, and you see these wide shots of them just trekking along, and you realize that's them on dirt and sand and snow and everything. They are walking along, and it's real. It's not a CGI shitstorm in an MCU movie.
It is so beautiful too, just to
great.
to gaze at. And when they do have to use like CGI, when they do have to utilize it, they try to focus in on what I prefer, practical over CGI. CGI is only there to clean it up a little bit and use it as little as possible. When they use it, it's like when they introduce Rivendell. No, yeah, Rivendell. When they just like they utilize a practical effects as well, but they're utilizing it to help show you like, hey, this is a grandiose place.
A lot of times
when they go to not Minas Tirith. Yeah, Minas Tirith.
Well, Gandalf goes to Minas Tirith in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but when they go to Minas Tirith, like, well, I'm saying I'm talking about like the.
Well, you're going to what I was going to say next.
We went with them.
You're going to my next point. They had models.
Yeah.
That they used for all this stuff.
And they utilize CGI to help.
You're not allowed to use that word. You're just going to go start looking at the store right now. You're not allowed to bring that word up. I'm trying to protect you.
The CGI and the models is used to help the transition into the practical. That's what I'm trying to get at. And when I say like we or they, I'm talking more like the production company, how the movie moves and stuff. That's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about the actual Fellowship.
But they make they don't. It doesn't look like a shitstorm. It doesn't look flat and gray and disgusting. It looks vibrant, looks alive because they had, like I said, they had the models, and they just brought it all together.
It doesn't look like Wakanda. It doesn't look like.
And they used the CGI when appropriate. Yeah. CGI appropriate to me in this movie is during the Moria escape, where you got the goblins everywhere. You can't pull that off with all practical. Especially when they're climbing up shit. That works. Or of course, let's go back to this because we went away from it. The Balrog. The Balrog. Oh, it's beautiful.
That is one of the most epically edited, properly looking creature I have ever seen in a movie. The CGI actually makes it. They utilize it in such a way that it makes it look like a real life creature, and it terrifies you. And when you look at the Balrog from frickin' Rings of Power, you're like, this is night and frickin' day. Yeah. How is it that in 2001 we have better CGI than we do now?
Rankin Basket Balrog was better than Rings of Power.
That Balrog was creepy as all hell. It terrified me.
Yeah, the ring race in that one as a kid scared the shit out of me. I was just like, no. I had nightmares from them.
I didn't. No, I had nightmares from different movies.
But that Balrog
I had nightmares from a kung fu movie where a guy was stabbing people with a finger.
You had nightmares from spiders.
Yes, you did.
No, I've actually never had nightmares from a spider. I mean, I've had spiders be creepy in my dreams, but spiders are giving nightmares. No.
We need to do a Mellow Mondays. I have a perfect video to show you.
I'd rather play Conan right now.
I know. Anyway, it's just off topic for this. That's why I'm not bringing it up. But
it was said in the chat, Adam. It was said in the chat.
What? Where?
I must go look.
No. Do not bring up Weta. Mustang has a problem. We do not bring up Weta around him right now. He has a problem.
Weta?
I'm a recovering addict.
No. Oh. I'll show us off tomorrow. Guess what arrived in the mail today? My Mara Jade arrived today. It's down in the hub. It arrived after I got home. I'll show it off tomorrow on the show.
Legatus, you're 100% right. Like, when it comes to CGI, even though I'm a computer guy, even though I went in originally for 3D animation, I want to make video games. I know how to do some of the CGI work. I agree with Guillermo del Toro's process. It is 99% practical, 1% CGI, and that is solely to do the cleanup work.
Yes.
That to make it look more real. You want to focus in on the practical effects. That's why I praise practical effects the way I do.
But even when we see CGI, like the troll is believable.
Yeah.
In that scene. I'm not. there's no uncanny valley for me. I'm in it.
I can see the uncanny valley because it is
Well,
2001, but it's so when I remember watching it for the first time.
Yeah,
it
well,
looked so real.
Well, I don't. Well, listen, I don't have the best eye for CGI. I just don't see shit CGI when I see it. But when it's good, the uncanny valley for me is very small when it's very good. So I don't see it the way maybe somebody with a better eye will. I've admitted that many times. So when I watched it today, once I fixed my screen, I had some settings on my screen to make things look like shit. But when I watched today, no uncanny valley for me. I'm in the scene. Everybody's jumping around. It's great. And it's I love that scene too. That's a good little fight. It's a great little chaotic fight scene.
There's just ways that the troll moves and kind of its shading and its coloration is what kind of shows you that, hey, it's not the best, but when you first watch it, like your first time watching that troll, it looks real.
Yeah.
It looks believable.
Well, there's a lot of things that look real. It was one of the best stories I have from first watching this movie. When we went to first see this movie, me and a bunch of former high school friends, we were on break coming back home. We went to see this, and one of my friends, she was sitting next to me. I've told the story. On one side, there was like 8 or 9 of us, and on one side, one of my friends who snuck in champagne in a Sprite bottle got drunk and fell asleep during the movie. Another one, she was high, drunk and high, watching it. And when Bilbo does his monster face, reaching for the ring, she screamed in the theater, right in my ear. And I just went, what the fuck?
God, that...
Because I just went like this. My reaction to this was, I went, ooh. But she went, ah! I just went, God damn it, Steph, shut up! What the fuck?
Talking about that scene, and like we're talking about the process and everything, that is a beautiful scene done with CGI and all those effects.
Great.
That is a beautiful.
He's normal and suddenly sharp teeth, hollow eyes. I mean, it's just
I think
Go ahead, Dave.
I was gonna say the only thing that really looked shit, even though you don't get a good look at him, Gollum.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. You
see him,
his
but the
eyes.
CGI,
All you see is eyes.
Well, you also see him like moving and stuff. It doesn't look good.
They hadn't worked it out yet. And they worked it out for Two Towers and they pulled it off. And we'll talk about Andy Serkis and Gollum in the next movie.
When we're talking production, there's a 2014 TV series called Looking for the Hobbit. And I mean, it's more geared towards the Hobbit series, but it's John Howe, it's Stuart Davis, and they're taking you through it.
There's parts of the Hobbit I really like. The parts that I really dislike,
I like it for what it is.
I'm talking about this is.
I know what he's talking about. I was just saying before we go on, R.I.P. Ian Holm. R.I.P. Ian Holm. Before we go too far away from talking about Bilbo, R.I.P. Ian Holm. Again, another fantastic casting. Just for when he's in the movie, incredible. But all of it comes together. The CGI works. It flows beautifully. I only have one flaw I find in this movie for me, which is what's going to drag down my score a little bit. And we've talked about this in the past, so this is nothing new, is the lack of giving us an awareness of how much time passes in the beginning.
I'll give you that.
Not knowing how much time passes from when Bilbo leaves the Shire and Gandalf comes back.
I can concede that.
Because it was years, isn't it? It's years.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
My lore kind of breaks down at that point, but it was a long time.
One more time.
No. When Bilbo leaves the Shire and Gandalf returns once he discovers that the ring is there.
Oh yeah. God, I used to know the year count off the top of my head, but it was.
But I'm saying that's the one drawback because the movie does not. Again, to be fair, we have to work hard sometimes to find flaws in the things we love. So that
it's decades.
It's decades. Thank you. Okay, yeah. It's just because we want to make sure that we don't give. We can't slap a perfect 10 on things. We want to be very sure. I can only, on top of my head, name 2 movies for me that are perfect 10s.
I think I can only name one.
There are two for me, and I can't name them because we might watch them one day, and I don't want to spoil what my score is going to be. I mean, I could tell you guys off camera what two movies that I think are perfect 10s for me, but off the top of my head. But that's why I want to be careful, and that's why that's a small flaw. They do not tell us. They don't give us enough to work with. As Mustang just confirmed, it's decades between when Bilbo leaves the Shire and Gandalf comes back, realizing that Frodo has the ring in an envelope in a desk.
They give us a little bit of passing of time,
but it's just Gandalf going to Minas Tirith.
They mention it in the Prancing Pony that the dude hadn't seen him for 6 months.
6 months.
That's not.
That could have been any. That could have been any time. I mean,
well, it's not only that, but the fireworks. They let it be known that Gandalf's been coming many times over many years.
Yeah, but that's at the beginning of the story. I'm just talking about the separation from the Shire to when Bilbo leaves to when Gandalf comes back.
That's not a timeline thing. The timeline is the biggest problem in this whole thing. Like, they don't do a good job of telling you, hey, it took them actually several years just to go to Mount Doom.
13-month round trip.
No, it's just 1 year. The whole story takes place 13 months.
Yeah, it did.
13 months.
The quote, 13 months to the day. Which is why what pissed me off when they announced the Rings of Power premiere, they announced it literally 13 months from when they announced that. And I made that point in one of my videos when they announced, like, oh, you bastards. You think I didn't see that, you assholes? No, it's 13 months.
I thought it was multiple years.
No.
My brain's shining down a little bit. I've been drinking a lot. Anyways, but they don't do a good job of even showing you that. They kind of make it kind of feels like it's been a few months.
Yeah, they don't make it. That's why watching it feels barely any time passes. But like Legata says, Gandalf had to travel trying to dig into the theory that he now had that's the ring.
See, I didn't care.
It's not that I care. It nags at me a little bit because we've had this discussed a lot of time. I want to know passage of time sometimes. Mm-hmm. I like to know time skips when they happen.
They start doing better at explaining the passage of times in about not Rings of Power, Return of the King.
Yes.
They start doing a whole lot better, like mentioning, hey, it's
well,
going
they have to because we are these many days away, this many hours, or that. The rest of the movie is fine. The passage of time, it's just that one little part where, because it's kind of shocking when you come upon Bilbo. He's a hobbled old man suddenly. And it's like, whoa, did that happen just in these past couple of months, these 6 months? Because he didn't have the ring on him? No, it's been decades catching up to him now. So that
I always thought it was just because the ring gives a natural life.
And then when it was gone, but it didn't happen instantly. That, to Mustang's point, that took decades to happen there.
Mm-hmm. And the way I always headcanoned it was the ring's gone, so now his body's rapidly aging.
Well, that's the truth. It was rapidly catching up. But when you watch the movie, it just feels like it's been a couple of months. Mm-hmm. And that's that. Again, I'm just trying to give an objective criticism here from the storytelling aspect. They could have done something, I think, just to let us know years had passed. Just something. And I would have been okay. I'm still okay. It's just, I got to take a little points. All right. I mean, do you guys have any criticisms at all other than mine? There.
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard.
This is not an easy one to criticize because you love so much about it.
That's why we're trying to look at this from objectivity. That's why if Jed was here, I know he'd be able to give an objective thing because he likes to give that objective thing, that objective point that keeps him from getting to that perfect 10. I know he does. Big ol' Spence, we did the Tom Bombadil discussion. Go back like 45 minutes ago. We did that. We had
and it was Lurtz the Hunter of Men is who you were thinking of, Adam.
Lurtz, thank you. Why did Lurtz? It was Lurtz.
And the only reason is because I went to where I shouldn't have gone, and it's for sale now.
If I'm gonna be
it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
If I'm gonna be truthful on my criticism of the movie, other than the time passage.
It's hard, I know.
I know there's something. There might be just a scene where like CGI doesn't look that good.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
I
hard.
Call that,
it's hard to criticize that because, especially at the time, and because so much of it looks so clean and beautiful.
I would I wouldn't criticize. I wouldn't call that as a negative. It's the time, and frankly, to me, it aged just fine. Looks perfectly fine on my HD TV on the Blu-ray on the PS5. Looks perfectly fine, no problem.
I watched it in 4K. I don't have 4K, but I watched it in HD on my Mac.
Well, I don't have 4K either.
So beautiful.
I'll admit I haven't completely bought into 4K. I don't own any 4K, so I still think
debating
4K is
getting a
gonna.
4K player.
Well, the PS5 is a 4K, but I mean, here's the thing. I still think 4K is going to pass on eventually. I think it's going to pass on. Anyway, all right, we're diverging.
Ask Mustang about his criticism, and then I'll.
Mustang probably has. Well, Mustang is a weird one to ask because he's admitted that he's
go the
able.
lore route.
No, he's able to reconcile a lot of his lore his missing lore stuff. Aren't you, Mustang? You're able to reconcile a lot of it. Aren't
I can give you my score.
Not your score.
Oh.
No, a negative in the movie, like one criticism.
100%. It is the Galadriel and Gimli scene that should have been in the movie. Period.
Okay.
That actually that has always had me take off because of it.
Okay.
It's very important. Tom Bombadil, I could be forgiving because to do Tom could have actually harmed how good these movies are because Tom's very flamboyant, carefree. He doesn't convey what these movies are trying to get across. It would have took away from it. It'd have been comic relief.
Okay, so your criticism is that missing scene or more of it than what we get in the extended edition.
Yeah,
okay.
there's a lot there. That's a problem for me, and there is some scene problems. There are some I can actually see them to the point where I go, whoa, why what happened there? So there are a couple things that do detract in this one from me.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to say because I don't have a list. I'm gonna have to rewatch it again. And
oh darn!
Oh darn! Yeah. Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to rewatch the Fellowship of the Ring again and extended cut. Don't.
Damn you!
It's such an awful thing. I'm sorry. No, but I would have to rewatch it again and like watch closely to figure out a problem that I have. I would say the easiest one might be. Again, it's time passage, but it would be in not so much the beginning, but how long was Gandalf locked up? How long was he at the top of that whole thing? Because as much as I like that fight, I don't know how he got onto the roof. Because he's flying up there. I'm like, how did you get up there if you were about to basically smash into the ceiling? Why do you store him up there?
Well, he can't go anywhere.
He can't Spider-Man down like we can.
Yeah.
Well, no, because of his connection to the Eagles, because of his ability to communicate with the Eagles. Why would you put him up there? I think
maybe Saruman. Well, that could play into Saruman's arrogance.
That was done for the movie. You've read the books. You know it was done for the movie to give us something to lock up ominousness.
Yeah, but it's like I get it. You do it for the movie, but it doesn't make sense with his abilities and stuff. So I think that's, and then how long he was up there. That's just it's hard to find a criticism of these movies.
But we're trying to be
really
objective
hard.
here. We're trying to be objective here because we can't. Again, we can't just slap tens on things. We've come close a couple of times.
I will say this: there is a Lord of the Rings movie I do think is a 10.
Same with me. One of them is my 10.
One of them is my 10.
No, I'll say you're not getting 10s out of me on these, but it's high. I mean, again, my two 10s. Mustang, I think Mustang will respect my 2 10s when he knows them. He probably only knows one of them.
I know one of them.
You know one of them, but you might even know both of them. But all right.
I will say Fellowship is up there. It's close. It ain't a 10. No. I have very few that I rank as 10s.
We are talking, of course, about what the works of this movie, and we are now at that point. We're almost 2 hours in, so we're going to wrap this up. The score, Howard Shore. This is iconic music. We are over 20 years in at this point since it started. Howard Shore's score is iconic in this movie, in Two Towers, in Return of the King. Prove me wrong.
Okay, you've yelled at me on stream to turn off things before we went live because you've heard what I've got playing in the background.
You always listen
Oh.
to Lord of the Rings music. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It's iconic.
It is. The thing about this is, I'm a guy that I like rock, I like anime music, I like country, and I like classical and grandiose music.
I love movie
I
soundtracks.
love this.
Yeah.
I love movie soundtracks and grandiose and classical. I love the grandiose nature of this soundtrack. I love all these scores because it gives me this epicness.
Yeah.
When you listen to it, even from when you're listening to the Hobbit themes, like not the Hobbit, but the themes
Hobbit
in the
themes,
Shire.
yeah, the Shire theme.
Concerning
the very-
hobbits.
Concerning
Every-
Hobbit, the very light
everything
tones. It still has
is-
this epic feel.
It's all scored perfectly. Every scene, and this is the term we use on this show, is elevated by the music, which is why it rises to the heights of near perfection that it does. Because
Music, I don't think I said it on here, but
here's the
music
thing.
has the ability to make a shit scene seem good.
Here's the thing, though. Think of the most iconic scenes in movie history that have scores to them. You can hear that music and you can see the scene. For me, it's just off the top of my head, the asteroid chase in Empire Strikes Back. You see that scene. You could see all these classic moments, these classic scenes that have specific soundtracks. This movie achieves that. The whole trilogy achieves that. Where they do that.
Portals from Endgame.
But you understand. But that's the point, though. Something becomes iconic as a soundtrack, as a score. Superman theme. You see the montage of Christopher Reeve doing Superman stuff. I mean, there are moments, and
night theme.
I don't like.
We could go down a rabbit hole.
What I'm saying, but you making my point.
Mm-hmm.
This movie achieves that. The whole trilogy achieves that. You can hear a piece of music, and you can see the scene in your mind. That's perfect scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 9 times out of 10, it happens to be a John Williams score, but in this case, it's Howard Shore, and Howard Shore wins the day with this movie. So it's perfect.
Every so times you get that. Who's that newer guy that people are putting everywhere?
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer. Every so often, Hans Zimmer does have some really good ones.
Hans Zimmer. It's Pirates of the Caribbean with me and him. It's the part. I can line up all those scenes in my mind with his tracks because I use a lot of those tracks for scene inspiration of my own. So yeah.
Real quick, off topic. I actually think Pirates 2 and 3 are actually better than people give them credit for. So
I will agree. I think
I'll
agree. I think 3 drops the ball narratively towards the end because it promises something it doesn't deliver on. But we'll get back to that because we've done Black Pearl. What we did in the previous incarnation, so we might have to do Black Pearl all over again. But I feel like Pirates 2 delivered on a lot of stuff, and then 3, as much as I like it, at World's End, didn't follow through on a lot of the storylines that Dead Man's Chest set up.
I think they should have just ended it at 3. I think that is the
I would have been okay
proof.
with that. I've been okay with it. Anyway, that's tangent, which shows that we are basically close to the end. But the score, lovely, beautiful. You can listen to it anywhere, anytime. It's in the cultural zeitgeist. It's in there. So that's how we know it. With all that said, score time. I'll go first this week. I'm very, very simple. I give it a 9.5 out of 10. 9.5. The small time lapse, the little time things, it drops in enough that it doesn't, because I always question it. I'm always questioning it. What was the how much time passed? I just that little bit, and it flows perfectly after that. Just that little bit. All right, Dermy, what's your score?
Honestly, it's 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the most part, it's so close to being perfect, but there's something there that's just stopping it from being a 10 out of 10 for me that I can't give it that. So it's so freaking close.
Mustang?
Unanimous.
9.5. All right, 9.5 across the board. 9.5 out of 10. All right.
I think this also goes to just how good these movies are. It is hard for people to critique these movies honestly.
Yeah, that's why it's just a discussion where we'll find the little things that we are gonna just
Grump,
Grump,
you jackass.
Grump,
you
go.
you freaking
Grump, watch the road.
Grump, your ass needs to get on the game with us. Period.
But
no more.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that.
But may also take this. We had criticisms for Fellowship. We looked at it as hard as we could. We had some criticisms. 9.5. Take a look at freaking Rings of Power. Night and day comparisons to these creatures. That's why Rings of Power deserves to be thrown into the pits of Mordor. You can take the worst Hobbit movie and it still looks better than Rings of Power.
Anyway, so there we have it. We've given our scores. Next week, I'll be back. Jed will be back. I don't know if these two Yokos will be back, but
yeah,
probably. We hopefully we'll have an even more expanded panel. We'll go for even longer when we have more people. But we'll be back next week with the Two Towers, Part 2 of the Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings.
How about we do this? Just plan me for all three.
Okay, fine. But we hope you guys enjoyed it, chat. I know you guys were catching us when we fall on some things. I know you guys have discussions that were going on. Grump, if you want Grump always has an open invitation to join. Roundtable members always have open invitations to join stuff. They always have first dibs. And who knows, Jed might be able to find a couple people in the Geeks and Gamers house. You never know. He got Beardo last week. Who knows who he'll ever find? We don't. I want to have a grand discussion because Two Towers, in my opinion, is where it really picks up, and it really starts. And then you really get the good stuff. There's my favorite scene in the entire franchise, the entire trilogy is in Two Towers. I love it. Anyway,
okay,
thanks again.
Your favorite scene is when Pip and Marys are sitting there eating and drinking.
No.
I'll admit this. There's a damn good. My second favorite scene in the whole thing is in Two Towers, and me and Adam might have the same scene that we're thinking of. My first.
I don't want to spoil it now. I want to save it for next week. I don't want to give any. I don't want to give any.
I'm gonna keep it under wraps too because
yeah. It's not hard to guess if you think about the things I like and the types of scenes I like. But it's my favorite scene in the entire trilogy. It just is. I love it.
My favorite character gets introduced.
Anyway, thanks, chat. We love you. As long as this stream is up before the replay, the re-upload, hit that like button. Hope you had a good time. We love you. And if you watch on the replay. If you had a good time, hit that like button. Everybody's channels, link in the description below. Check us out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Dermy's almost at 1,000.
Close.
Help this man get there.
Remember, guys, if I get to 1K, once I get monetized, that immediate stream, hopefully it's a Ball Busters, and maybe I'll save it for a Ball Busters.
You should save it for a Ball Busters.
I will shave.
Just think of how much fun we're going to make of you when it happens.
I will shave the entire beard, and then after that, I'll also say this: Rastercaster and I are in talks to possibly waterboard me.
No. Do not do that on stream. Do not do that.
We're not going to do it on stream.
Don't do a period.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Don't do a period.
We're going to have some fun.
We're done here.
Thank you.
In about the next hour, you're probably going to see us fire up some Conan. I got to eat dinner first, though.
These two, I have skin max hair. I might be able to fit in a little Conan for a little bit.
Cut out early and come slum with us.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Piggles, I know you gang. Why don't you join us?
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, everybody. Catch us on the rest of streams. Catch us tomorrow. We'll catch me tomorrow. Roundtable, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll all be there in one way, shape, or form. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next week. Until then, take it easy. Have a good night or day wherever you may be.
Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed your friends. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies
see them driven before you, you hear the lamentation of the women.
It's all in the reflexes.
Well, also said you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Knock them while you can, monkey boy.
Great Scott. Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
And we are clear.